What it do, world? It's your minds and I'm the Toothless Wonder, aka File Shotter, reporting on the Bamboozled News Network with a Thanksgiving Day edition. Again, a lot of thoughts go through the mind, you know what I mean, in a reflective tip. And here's where some more synchronicity pops up, cause I got a memory on my Facebook jump of my first partner, you know what I mean, and he passed today in a car accident in which he was in a car full of dudes sitting in the middle in the back seat. The driver was drunk. They was all drunk, and he ended up crashing into a tree. And my partner was the only one that died. It was very, hot during the time. Just the whole time, he'd have been the Talbot County version of Tuka, someone who. Now I just did the math in my head. This was 28 years ago. He died when he was 14, and his memory still lives on. Again, like I was talking about in the last video, impact, right? And then today marks 12 years uh, since the last phone conversation I had with my shawty, before she passed the day after Christmas 12 years ago. You know what I mean? Then I put 28 and 12 together. That's 4. That's more. You know what I mean? Like I'm going through a lot of some like numerology. I don't know what to make of it, but it seemed like in an eerie sense, like stuff like outwardly it don't make no sense, but yet I keep getting these glitches in the matrix of numbers fitting together. You know what I mean? Um, Let me see. Uh, Lord's will I make it to 25. I'll be 43. 4 and 3 is 7. You know what I mean? And it'll be 2025. 2 and 5 is 7. I don't know. I just be thinking, right? But here's the odd part about it on this new, like where I'm currently stand at in my awakening or consciousness, right? Now I don't delve into the Thanksgiving Day festivities, right? And I haven't done so in about a decade. I've actually got longer boycotting stuff like modern dating, holidays, and so on and so forth. Then I actually got clean time. Like I was still drinking and not fooling with certain stuff. You know what I mean? Excuse me. So I was just thinking how, like when you break it down to the molecule, right? And this is probably due to our captivity, even though we're not necessarily in physical slavery, but it is to a degree because okay, it's Thanksgiving holiday, people get together, and I ain't knocking that, you know what I'm saying? Especially with how distant families are now. Okay, you get together for the holiday. I'm not finna participate, but to each his own. I rolled around yesterday doing errands. Everybody saying happy, holidays, happy Thanksgiving. I'm cordial with it. I don't feel the need to, get all overly intellectual with people. You know what I mean? It ain't even time to play for all that. Like, I say the same thing back, keep moving, right? So families getting together and whatnot. But under captivity, right, you got to figure this is probably, one of these seasons where you just can't take off from your job because you want to. You got to ask permission. And if they tell you no, you just got to go to work or risk getting fired. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like a break from the matrix, leaving the matrix to go inside another matrix. You know what I mean? But essentially, this is what we're doing, right? If you break it down to the molecule, we're celebrating the slaughter of what I understand to be our other Israelite brothers, the Native Americans. And we all know this. That's why I don't know, maybe it's symbolic, but why they did that, like they started changing teams' names, like the Redskins, because they said it was derogatory towards the Native Americans, right? But essentially, this would be no different to me than them having a holiday, right? Naming it something else, but essentially, you're celebrating the day the first slaves came off the slave ship, yeah? And we all celebrate and get together and eat ham or watermelon for that matter. You know what I'm saying? Or, when you think about it, right? That's like the Washington Redskins, they changed their name to the Commanders, right? But that'd be like essentially Negroes on a reservation and we watch a football team named the Washington Jigaboos and people walk around with Jigaboo jerseys on with the last name Smith on their back. Or what was the other one? The Cleveland Indians. They changed their name to the Cleveland Niggas. And you see people with niggas, on a jersey and a dude, on a baseball cap with a drumstick of fried chicken. Am I going too deep here with this, yo? I don't think so. I don't participate. It's stupid. Here's what I'm tripping about too, yo. And I understand the preservation. But I've been on Earth, as it currently stands, 42 years, yo. I've never seen two Native Americans in society, or at the grocery store, or at Planet Fitness, or at the Muskrat Festival, or, you know what I mean? Where are they at, yo? And I also know this is like a real big, like, and here's something else I noticed too, right? Because I don't feel, other than reflecting, but I don't feel no type way, I don't feel depressed, I don't feel none of that. But I know this time is real big for what they call seasonal depression, you know what I mean, the holidays and so on and so forth. I've saved a lot on my mental health by not participating. Like, I don't feel bad about not being invited to the family function, or I don't want to go. I've really settled into, and it used to be real vexing earlier on in my journey, but now I've come to embrace the solitude, the peace, the silence. So much so, I'm very protective of it, and I don't feel like, just it, whatever. It don't do nothing for me. And I don't hear nothing from any other time of the year, and I ain't mad about it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not stunting none of that. Um, Not at all. I don't even know where I'm going with this video. It's just, I don't know. I just wonder what 2025 holds. You know what I mean? And will I be mentally, spiritually prepared to deal with whatever come down the pipe? Because I want to believe this, right? If we're quote unquote chosen or called or however that word, right? Eventually, you're going to have to step into some leadership position. Now, I don't know how that correlates to that in the second gathering, and I can't put them pieces together, right? But ultimately, if you're chosen, right, you didn't just go through all the stuff, let's say the isolation, let's say the narcissistic abuse, let's say doors of opportunity being closed, not fitting in, having a longer, harder, more arduous road, right? All that I refuse to believe was by haphazard just because you chose it. It's all for a purpose. Because ultimately, in a world that I see lacking leadership, who is more adept to lead than the person who's been through everything and not went to the wayside, or not, um, went back into the world per se, or not go along to get along, or, you know what I'm saying? I'm in a very paradoxical place, or there's a lot of duality with me, right? I feel very powerful, right? But at the same time, I can feel my weakness. You see what I'm saying? Um, in my mind, now this is absent. Not that I'm sitting to the side. This is absent spiritual belief, spirituality. The way I'm saying it, I'm gonna have to be one of them all-purpose Negroes. Like, I'm gonna have to be, turn my body into a fighting machine. I'm gonna have to be able to have knowledge of building and repair. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'm gonna have to be very knowledgeable of a plethora of different subject matter, spiritually, philosophically, and practically. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to probably be the most wisest man. Typically, wisdom comes from suffering, and knowledge comes from my point of view. You know what I'm saying? But it's almost impossible to do that. There's just not enough time today. I also feel like I'm not doing the Most High his just due service, because it's now I pray throughout the day, of course, but it's hard to really focus in on God. You know, work, bills, kids, spiritual warfare. You know what I'm saying? Whatever situations come up, that I kind of struggle with the. You're not supposed to be concerned with the affairs of life or the concerns of life, but you still got to live in the life, right? You still have to be responsible and be a steward. You know what I mean? So I find it hard, or just trying to gauge, what's the healthy balance, or am I even supposed to be balanced? Like honestly, if my situation, I'd just move into the mountains, because there really ain't a whole lot for me here in Babylon to fool with. So I just move in the mountains. Let's say I got my own little homestead. I got solar power. I tend to my land, and then I stay focused. Like, I don't have to deal with distractions. I don't have to go to Planet Fitness and see the yoga pants, so that rile me up. I don't have to deal with all that. You know what I'm saying? I know they say If your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out, right? And I'm imagining that to be symbolic, like you should just look away. But sometimes, honestly, I don't want to look away. You know what I'm saying? Am I wrong? Like, yeah, I guess, but I just be having a lot of spiritual questions. Not that I'm questioning the Most High. I just want to question so that I'm doing it right. You know what I'm saying? And like I typically say, if you're doing something new, you don't know if you're doing it right. You're just doing it and you improve on it. You know what I mean? Like my fasting life, I've improved in that area. I started with, what was I doing? I think I just went a whole day, no food. Did that a couple times. Then I went to 3 days, sun up, sundown. Then went 7 days, a couple times, a bunch of times, really. Within the last year. And then I just eclipsed that maybe a month and a half ago. I think I went 9, 10 days, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to get strong, just trying to, you know what I mean? Be set apart as much as I humanly can. And I don't find it burdensome because ain't nothing I really want to fool with. Or with the eyeballs I got, it's not what it looks to be. So there's no temptation, there's no desire in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, I wouldn't want a record deal. I don't want to be famous. I don't care nothing about that. You know what I mean? I don't want to fake kick it. And it's just, I can't be fake at this point. I couldn't be fake if I wanted to, even if I thought being fake for a short period of time would get me somewhere. Because I'm not good at acting. I'm not good at lying no more. I had to tell my daughter, babe, if you don't want to know the truth, don't ask me. Because I will tell you. So choose your words carefully. You know what I'm saying? And I do that with wisdom, of course. You know what I'm saying? But, oh, man. It's just, I don't know. It's just, just feels weird. Like, in the sense of, like, things look the way they look. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, uh, it looks different because it feels different. Like, to me, like, I don't see in the spiritual realm. I don't have them type of eyeballs. At least not yet. Not that I know of. But maybe I do because, yeah, it's fall. Oh, it's winter time, right? But it don't look the way it used to look during the winter to me. It's like we transition into this new dimension almost. There's a reality behind the veil that has now superimposed itself on the previous reality. Again, why nothing make any sense. Simultaneously, while I'm, ascending, growing, so on and so forth. So it's a simultaneous thing happening where the world is changing to the left and I'm changing to the right. And there's a vast chasm that is separating us. And technically, we're at war with one another. Spiritually. I've been feeling a lot of spiritual warfare too, a lot of pressure. Dare I say so, and I really don't deal with anxiety like that, but a lot of anxiety, not necessarily in fear, but the anxiety that comes from attempting to do your due diligence each and every moment. You know what I'm saying? I'm very conscious of every step I take, every move I make. Song, right? It's like a self-analysis where it's almost sometimes as though I have the ability to detach from self, to look in on myself and then grade myself. You see what I'm saying? And the CEO aspect of me says, Cal, you gotta be better, boy. And I've never been this good ever. But I don't like being stagnant neither. Maybe that's the pressure. The pressure of, wanting to be better, trying to be better and failing. But figuring out, oh, it might work this way, or you know what I'm saying? Just like the analogy, if you take a rubber band and pull it all the way back, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of strain, a lot of stress. But once you can't pull it no further, either one or two things happen. The rubber band either snaps, which is not going to happen, or it can only go back but so far till you let it go and then it propels forward. I'm truly of the belief it's the latter. But here's the key of faith, right? How, when, where? Like I planted a bunch of seeds. I planted so many seeds, I forgot where I planted all the seeds at. But as it looked, ain't nothing grown yet. You know what I'm saying? I caught a clip that resonated. And yeah, it's haphazard. You see information or hear certain stuff. But some stuff you'll be like, yo, that's for me in the Matrix, right? What they're talking, I think it's the bonsai tree where you plant the seed and it doesn't grow. Now my time frame might be off, but the seed, gets planted so you're in the dark, you're not seeing whatever. But it may stay planted for like 3 years before it even begins to sprout. And then they say within like 2 weeks it'll start to sprout, like a regular whatever. But then all after that, like in the next 6 weeks, it shoots up to like 90 feet, you know, just out of nowhere. Like its growth is, once it cracks Earth, it kind of looks around like, oh, okay. And then it just goes straight up like a space age rocket ship. That's how I'm kind of envisioning this thing, or how I feel this thing. I'm not going to know where it's come from. The only key for me to is just endure, which is part to walk. And not just endure, but not be all super anxious. Win, 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 win. You know what I'm saying? I do what I can do. I continue to, strive and so on and so forth. But just like the situation that got me in this situation came out of nowhere with a door that for all intents and purposes looked to be shut. And then once it came, because had I got it previously, the institution I was in would have took it. So I was wondering at the time, why is my information getting all jacked up? Why is this not working? A purposeful or strategic delay. Because had I got it when I wanted it, legally the entity owed me, which they could have, it wouldn't have been ethically right, but legally they had the rights over my name and so on and so forth because I signed it over. That was part of getting in there. Would have had the legal right to take that money. So when I did get it, it fit into the season I was in. And previous to that season, I guess it was school time. I had just left a sober living spot. Talked about how I felt led to quit right after they offered me a promotion and quit. You know what I'm saying? And didn't feel bad about quitting. But then like, okay, what I'm going to do now? So I had a whole bunch of utility-related certs. Asbestos, so on and so forth. So now I'm in a new area trying to see how I can, use the skills I've obtained in Baltimore. Just wasn't fitting, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then my funding had ran out. So I got a 30-day extension. And I quit my job before that. Like I knew all that and still did it. You understand me? So I got here really not knowing what to do, and I had a week to figure it out right. So I'm at the Y. No, and then it was school time. The one, I think that was, my dog was in 6th grade. So, school time. So I don't have no money, but I just started like building my credit. So I had a credit card or whatever that I hadn't used or whatever. So I'm like, well, here, take this, use this for that, and I'll just figure it out later. Similar situation I'm doing now, even though I'm going to figure it out later, but I don't know how I'm going to figure it out. Like I done did all I can do. You know what I'm saying? So whatever, at least she's straight. Cool, boom, whatever. I'm at the Y, people call me. Say, yeah, we got your sweet potato. That's what I call money. And it was actually more than I expected. And when they looked into it, I was actually owed more money. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, there it is. You know what I'm saying? And then like a month prior, again, just trying stuff, I put in a job at the rehab as a janitor. Since the first rehab I was at, I had to clean up toilets for free and whatnot. So I said, well, why not? You know what I'm saying? And it ended up being a bike ride, because I was used to riding a bike, because I used to ride the bike 45 minutes to get to work and still pull up that 45 minutes early, which is just the stuff you got to do when you're trying to put your life together. You ain't got time to complain. It's your decision making that led you in this position. But let me change my mindset. I'm thankful I got a bike and the physical ability and the mental aptitude to ride a bike 45 minutes to get there, because work started at 8, and I used to get there like 7:15. I'd feel late if I got there 7:30, if I was there a half hour before everybody else on bicycle. That's my claim to fame, you know what I'm saying? But I have to remind myself of these things mentally to understand things spiritually so that I can move practically in today's time. You know what I'm saying? Like I got the job over with the crack, but it's just a whole bunch of checking by it. I don't find it fulfilling. You know what I'm saying? So I hold on to it, whatever. But I'm still looking to, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not bound to anything. I'm not labeled, and I'm not nobody's slave, yo. Now, if I find the work purposeful or if I'm having an impact, I'll do it all day long. And don't get tired like Kevin Gates. But I probably couldn't do it for the warehouse. Now, unless the warehouse was shipping goods to, I don't know, the hood, they were building something. You know what I mean? But just, no. My spirit not in it. It's not that I can't do it. I've never actually been fired from a job. I always quit. And here's the tripping part. All the jobs I've quit on have hired me back, yeah. True story. I guess that's, God's favor or whatever. But I just said all that to say, like, just, around the holidays and whatever y'all got going on, just to keep the faith. And not say it in a cliche-ish role, but to say it in like, yo, what else are you going to do, yo? You can only do but so much here in captivity. Outside your skill set or whatever the Most High deem you worth or allow you to do. You know what I'm saying? So when everything looked like it's falling apart, or if one thing happened, it could fall apart. If you look back over your life, look at all the circumstances you thought that was going to drop you, and you still here. And you still sane. And you're probably better suited to deal with stuff than the average people around you who have lived in comfortability or social groupings and so on and so forth. I noticed the average person that I run into can't be by themselves for an extended period of time, yeah. They lose their mind, yeah. They need the social value. We don't necessarily need that. If you listen or subscribe to my content, of course we yearn for human, interaction and attachment that's fulfilling. But that's probably why now the isolation isn't necessarily by force like it might have been earlier on. We see the benefit in it now. We see everybody acting a fool. We see, the falsehoods of modern dating or the 9-to-5 culture or how everything is that technically situated under a plantation construct where the workers are exploited by those at the top. They just might got all the resources or whatever, but they can't do none of the work they jipping paying you to do. You see what I'm saying? Like most of your CEOs don't have college degrees, but you got to have a college degree to work for them. You see what I'm saying? This is, again, as I like to call it, the inversion of Babylon. In reality, it's flip-floppity, again, because they have us thinking that we need these jobs, when in reality, they can't make no money because they can't do the actual work unless they hire you. You see what I'm saying? Granted, it's probably a codependent, interdependent type situation. You know what I mean? But if everybody just decide to boycott these companies, they can't function, and the CEOs are going to jump out the window because they're not used to hardship. I mean, I guess everybody used to hardship to some degree. I'm talking about that God-anointed hardship that we all must endure and suffer through. Like I said, suffering part of it. You ain't going to duck no suffering. If I hadn't suffered, I wouldn't even be able to handle the situation I'm in now, because I wouldn't have the prerequisite knowledge and information of previous seasons of life to know what to do now. So like anybody in my situation, they'll start selling drugs, or they might try to go mess with, finesse Bon Quisha, or, you know what I'm saying? I ain't did none of that. I just do what I can do, pray, and leave it alone. And on that note, I'm going to holler at y'all. Ooh, ah!